a rarely seen aircraft reserved for moments of national emergency. It takes to the air only when the stakes are unusually high. Its mission is classified, and its presence often signals events that few outside the highest levels of government are aware of. The E-4B Doomsday Plane, a flying nuclear war command bunker built to keep the U.S. government running if everything collapses, was quietly spotted taxiing and taking off from Los Angeles International Airport, a reminder that even in apparent calm, preparations for the unimaginable continue. For decades, the E-4B has operated in the shadows, its missions largely unknown to the public, yet its existence represents one of the most critical components of U.S. national security strategy. Every movement of this aircraft is monitored closely by military analysts, intelligence agencies, and foreign observers alike, because when it moves, it is never without reason. Its very presence in the sky carries a message, one of readiness, resilience, and the silent mechanisms that ensure continuity of command when every other system may have failed. And questions are growing louder. This aircraft, officially the E-4B Nightwatch, is not your everyday military plane. It's a mobile national command center, hardened against nuclear blasts, electromagnetic pulses, cyber attacks, and communication outages that could cripple ordinary operations. Inside, secure command and control systems allow the president and top military officials to direct the nation's nuclear forces, coordinate with allies, and respond to crises even if the ground-based infrastructure has been compromised. Every system on board is designed to function independently, creating a flying fortress capable of sustaining prolonged operations without any reliance on outside support. Its very design is a testament to decades of strategic planning, technological advancement, and the hard-learned lessons of history, including Cold War contingencies and lessons from prior global conflicts. If Washington fell, if the government was paralyzed, if the unthinkable happened, this plane would become the United States in the sky. The president, top military commanders, the nation's nuclear command authority, all in one airborne fortress. It is a scenario that seems almost cinematic, yet it is meticulously planned and rehearsed in classified exercises that few outside the Pentagon will ever witness. The E-4B is more than steel, electronics, and defensive systems. It's a floating emblem of continuity, a bulwark against chaos, and a deterrent designed to ensure that no adversary can ever gain the upper hand by disrupting U.S. command and control. And here's why people are alarmed. Attention now turns to the Middle East, especially Iran. Analysts are asking the question on everyone's mind. Could Iran be next? The stakes are immense. Iran is already on edge, protests erupting across the country, communication blackouts cutting off social media and news, political unrest growing wider, and public anger rising against both domestic authorities and international pressures. The situation is fluid and volatile, with every action potentially triggering wider regional instability. Every ripple in Tehran can send tremors across the region, impacting neighbors, allies, and global interests alike. Analysts note that every movement by key military assets, every public statement by leaders, and every diplomatic maneuver is being carefully scrutinized for signs of escalation. At the same time, President Trump has warned publicly that if Iran suppresses protesters violently, the U.S. may respond decisively, signaling that America is prepared to act in defense of human rights, regional stability, and its own strategic interests. Military analysts note that the E-4B's activity often coincides with periods of heightened U.S. military readiness, suggesting that strategic planning is already underway, even if no action has yet been publicly announced. Historical patterns, such as previous deployments and military exercises during times of heightened tension, reinforce the idea that this is not coincidental. Combine that with the Doomsday Plane being active again, and speculation is rising. Is America preparing for possible action against Iran? Could conflict erupt sooner than expected? Even the possibility alone is enough to make global markets, governments, and investors sit up and pay attention. The financial implications of any conflict are immediate. Oil futures spike, gold prices rise, equities fluctuate, and investors seek safe haven assets as uncertainty dominates trading floors from New York to London, Tokyo, and beyond. Even minor developments in the region, when paired with the specter of high-level military readiness, can create a cascade of economic reactions that reverberate globally. Even before this, global oil prices were already volatile. Iran's role in global energy, its geopolitical influence, and the fragile state of the region make the Middle East a constant focus of market sensitivity. Analysts warn that any escalation could have a profound effect on supply chains, commodity prices, and investor sentiment worldwide. Short-term disruptions to shipping lanes, unexpected sanctions, or even rumors of military mobilization can all trigger dramatic swings in prices. The global economy, intricately interconnected, reacts almost instantly to perceived risk, magnifying local instability into global consequences. The short-term reality so far has been muted price movement, but analysts caution that anything could shift prices quickly in either direction, making both investors and policymakers extremely vigilant. In times of geopolitical stress, investors usually flock to the US dollar as a safe haven, temporarily increasing demand. But a prolonged conflict, combined with economic uncertainty and domestic unrest, could weaken confidence over time, putting sustained pressure on the dollar instead of strengthening it. Gold has already shown strength as traders hedge against uncertainty, especially with major tensions linked to Iran, protests internationally, and the looming threat of conflict. Its role as a safe haven asset remains crucial during periods of high volatility, and demand can surge rapidly if conflict escalates further. Equities tend to react first to fear and uncertainty. Energy and defense sectors may rise sharply, while consumer-sensitive industries, travel, and discretionary spending stocks could slump, reflecting both market caution and risk aversion. Every policy decision, military maneuver, and public statement is analyzed by traders looking for subtle signals about what might come next. Markets move not only on events themselves, but on the anticipation of events, often amplifying volatility before any tangible developments occur. If a conflict involving Iran escalates, many analysts warn the instability could spill into global markets, intensifying inflation, disrupting supply chains, spiking energy prices worldwide. The interconnectedness of global finance means that even seemingly localized events can cascade through multiple markets, affecting production, transportation, investment, and consumer confidence. After Iran, attention turns to Latin America. In Venezuela, U.S. forces conducted a bold military operation and captured President Nicolas Maduro, bringing him to a federal court in New York, where he now faces charges for corruption, money laundering, and other crimes. This extraordinary move has drawn shock and criticism globally, raising questions about sovereignty, international law, and the delicate balance of power in Latin America. But it's the economic angles that are now making global markets nervous. Analysts are closely watching the flow of Venezuelan oil, the stability of Latin American markets, and the potential ripple effects on global energy prices. President Trump has made a second major declaration about Venezuela, one that struck at the heart of global energy markets. Trump says that Venezuela will turn over tens of millions of barrels of oil to the United States, and that this oil will be sold at market price, with the proceeds controlled by the U.S. government to benefit both Venezuelans and Americans alike. The administration intends to manage future Venezuelan oil sales for years, asserting leverage over how this energy revenue is spent. This is not just rhetoric, it ties directly into why markets are watching every move so carefully. Trump's plans to bring Venezuelan oil into the U.S. market could have two opposing effects. Increased supply, which tends to lower prices, especially if Venezuelan exports begin flowing and the U.S. markets absorb them efficiently. Or geopolitical risk premium, which tends to raise prices because any instability in the Middle East, Latin America, or Asia pushes traders towards safer assets and tighter oil pricing, reflecting uncertainty and potential disruptions. The short-term reality so far has been muted price movement, but analysts caution that anything could shift prices quickly in either direction, making both investors and policymakers extremely vigilant. Across the globe, tensions are already high. Iran, protests, communication disruptions, and political instability are already fueling nationalist fervor, international scrutiny, and investor concern. Middle East conflict scares, echoes of prior confrontations are still fresh, reminding the world of the fragile balance of power.